Which one are you?
Wow.
All right, we will call the meeting to order. Roll call, looks like everybody's here. Notice the meeting was properly posted on April 10th, 2024. Let's see here. Item number 1, discussion and possible action regarding minutes of April 22nd. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
We got a motion, a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We got 1 abstention. Cassie, thank you for putting the minutes on. In the past, we've kind of done all of the minutes at the end, and it's
easier to read.
It's really fun to go through all of the minutes all at one time, and doing it one at a time is very helpful, so I appreciate that. It's nice. Okay, we do have a request that one of our presenters has another engagement that they have to be at, so we're going to go ahead and, unless anybody has an objection, go ahead and start with HR and safety first on that estimate of needs. Okay.
Good afternoon. I didn't expect to be first today, but let's go for it. Do I need to tell you what I'm doing, or are you going to ask me questions?
We can't ask questions until we know what the questions are. Go ahead and start.
What I'm doing. Nothing. Okay.
Okay. Looks like they are efforting the screen. So we'll have a dramatic pause. We did. I'm taking requests.
Don't encourage me.
DJ.
Stop it.
DJ Fat Boy. Do you remember the Fat Boys?
That's not nice.
Okay, but it's true. You guys remember the Fat Boys?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I remember my grandma took me to see the movie Fat Boys, and she loved that movie. If you've not seen the movie, check it out.
So she's a cool grandma.
She is. She is 97 years old.
Wow.
She goes to the gym 3 days a week, works out, she drives herself.
That's fantastic. Well, you must have good genes.
She doesn't drive a convertible anymore, but till she's about 87, she did. Now she's a bit more practical. All right. You know, finding it?
Well, it's putting the nice big box in front of it when you look at it. Just want to hold the Excel.
Okay, well, I think,
It's on the screen.
does everybody have
Yes.
the estimate of needs in front of them? I think we all have a copy. KK, you have a copy, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's just go off of the hard document here.
You want to look at mine? Oh, I think it's me. I got it. I just made notes. Okay.
Well, overall, you're saving us some money.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's really all you need to tell us.
All right, I'm done. Yes, I did. I did away with, I shouldn't say did away, but I'm able to operate with 2 less positions now.
Yeah.
So I cut out the senior HR business partner, and I cut out our administrative assistant, and then combined some of the duties. Currently, I am fully staffed now. I did leave in there a part-time position into my budget. Possibly I may need a scanning person in the future. As you know or don't know, we scan all of our documents now as well as keep a hard copy, and sometimes we get behind and we need a little assistance with that. But right now, we're good. So that's why I left the part-time file clerk, scan clerk in my budget. You want me to go down to my travel expenses?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on down, I raised all of a little bit on my travel and my registration fees. Basically, that's because I have 2 more professional people. We're going to be having to pay more registration fees so I can get them certified. The monthly mileage, as you know, I've been short 3 people for a while, and we didn't have much mileage, but now that we're here, we've got a new safety coordinator, and he's going to be doing a lot more traveling, be out the yards, treasures resale, etc. So I just anticipate that extra there. When I went on down, we go to M&O on memberships. Again, those are going to be, everything's going up as we know. Anything that I raised as far as my memberships, my freight, the parking, I don't know if we're going to get another rate increase on that. And the equipment with vendors, I raised all that a little bit just because of the expenses of everything going up. I did reduce my office supplies. We didn't use as much this year because a lot of them were going more electronically. And I also lowered my publications by 200. Again, we're not paying that much to do it, so I didn't see use in putting in the budget that expensive. Going to capital outlay, I added a little bit just in case we need computers. I did change money. We just bought some new computers for our office, but we lack 2 new ones coming out. And then we're also having to replace our copier, so I did add a little extra for that. Plus, we have another person, not actually in our department, that uses our copier because they don't have access to one. Any questions on that?
Anybody have anything? Well, I'll ask on the computers, you said that you've got some new ones you may need to purchase, 2 additional.
2 additional ones. We did include 2 additional with this budget that we have currently in because I didn't know how the cost of it was going to go. And then we found out we have another one that's not going to be able to be updated, which is probably mine. So we may have to update that next year. So that's what that is. We're trying not to, but all of ours are old and slow and need to be replaced because it can't be updated.
So she's describing me. All right. Anybody have anything? If not, do we have a motion to receive the estimate of needs for HR?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thanks, KK. All right, we go in order now.
Just powerful.
Okay. All right. Next up on the agenda is court services. Mr. Billingsley. Good afternoon. Howdy.
Good afternoon.
See, I said howdy.
I knew you threw that in there intentionally though, as to not seem biased.
This will be pretty quick. So first we'll look at general fund. This is, as you guys know from every year, this is salary and benefits and cell phone. There's nothing else we need, nothing else we ask for. There will be a small payout for someone who retired after several years, but we'll be fine with that. So nothing out of the ordinary on this one, other than, like I said, it's salary and benefits and cell phone. And then 1260-301, that's our special revenue. Same with that.
Hang on one second.
Yep.
Before he moves on from the general fund budget, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I do, but it's only mathematical nature. It looks like the formulas or something are whack on that. I don't.
Is that your technical term? Wow.
Probably it was sent back and forth several times. So
Over on the difference?
Yeah, I just didn't want to accept the wrong one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, it appears as if you're asking for $1.203 million more this year, when we know you're not.
Right. Yeah, not more than.
It's taking your proposed budget and putting those lump sums over in the
Gotcha.
difference column.
Okay, yeah, we could fix, like I said, it was shot back and forth several times, so. Okay.
If you could, go ahead and get that fixed with the clerk's office, and then we can receive the updated one. Okay.
Sounds like a plan. 126301, this is our special revenue. This is M&O. So this covers all those costs. We don't ask for anything in this at all. It covers everything. So again, no requests from here on this. The only one aspect that will fluctuate year to year is our GPS. We can't predict. You know, sometimes it skyrockets, sometimes it goes low. Depending on the situations, there may be some cut off and we have to cover. So it just fluctuates, but for the most part, like I said, we're not asking for any money. It's covered in special revenue on that one.
Okay.
Ready?
Have any questions on that one? If not, we'll move on to, I guess, the user fees. GPS.
Yeah, this will be, so 126302, this is the indigent fund for the GPS. We're good right now. You can see the totals that we're in there and what we have. Again, it fluctuates, so depending on if more are on or less, it just depends. But we're fine right now, and there's also September that we can put something on for a supplement if we need to. So again, this one, we're not asking for anything right now. We're good on the rollover.
Any questions? Okay. Next.
Last one is Shine. This one, you know, we rely on the city contracts and the different contracts to bring in money. Based on what we bring in, what we roll over, what we need will be, if it stays as is, about $50,000 short. So opposed to asking for $50,000 now, I thought it'd be prudent to watch it and then always have the September supplement if we need to. Because the issue was we went through several months this last year with almost one employee. Because it's just hard to keep people in those positions. They come and go. So with that, there wasn't, you know, getting all of it out of the contract work. But now we're fully staffed. We have 4 full-time. So hopefully moving forward, we'll be able to get more out of that contract with that. So that would be my suggestion that we do for now to be fiscally responsible.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, when it was transferred to your department, there was kind of a lump sum that was in there that we used for capital to get some vans or something. Is there still that money? Is there any of that?
We got a van. We bought a new one. But there is some in there.
Okay. So, but all of that would be in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I seem to remember there being some that if we did run over, we would have some to kind of help supplement for a while.
There was a little bit of bank that rolled
Yeah.
over, and some of that was allocated to capital to purchase a van.
Okay.
And so there is still a little bit of bank, but the bank is dwindling just because they're not taking in on the contracts what they're spending.
Okay.
And so there's a little bit of deficiency each month. So over time, that deficiency will grow larger and larger and eat up that bank.
Right. And then, you know, when previously and when it was there was a lot of, not donations, but there was a lot of money put in there outside of the contract work.
Right.
And those funds just aren't there anymore. So we're living on the contract work. So we're doing everything we can to get everything out of it. And I feel really good about it now with full staffing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all I got.
Any questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to receive estimate of needs?
Motion to receive the estimate of needs for court services.
Is there a motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thanks, Grant. We just follow up with him to make sure that we get the updated one with the. All right. Next, we have social services. Christy, welcome. Howdy.
Thank you. Howdy. We overall have a decrease in our request amount. Some lines were up, some lines were down, and that's where it landed. For, as far as staff goes, we're down one full-time position. We're using part of that amount to replace that with a part-time in that position, and then, part of that dropping down to the fringe benefits account to pick up for an employee who hadn't previously had coverage, but now has coverage, so that took care of that. And then we put a little on the UI line, and that's really, that could either go UI or otherwise. It's just more a safety for, in the event that we might have somebody to leave, that we would have something in there for that, or for an annual leave payout. It's just a small amount.
At that 5,000.
Yeah. And then on M&O, some of these look like great big leaps, but they're things that we had put in the previous year's request, but because we were just stayed where we were, everything still is showing up on the line items, even though we didn't actually use it last year at those amounts. So for burial and cremation, that shows an increase, and that's an increase that we were looking at doing last year, that we had in there. That is in part based on, it's largely increasing caseload. And then it's partially, we increased the payment amount by a bit. So the two of those combined, we've got that number.
The increase in payment, that's been in effect for a little while now,
Yes,
right?
yes.
How are you tracking this year on your $45,000 budget for that line item?
We'll be over.
You're gonna be over the 45? Do you know, estimate where you're gonna be? And have you had to turn any away?
No,
Okay.
we haven't had to turn any away. We had put in for this higher amount in last year's request. So
I get that, but what's it looking like you're gonna wind up spending on that this year?
probably 65 if
Okay.
I haven't looked at the numbers in the last few days, but
It's about 20 over.
yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Let's see, med cost is down. That is a result of, the cost of insulin has always been one of our biggest cost drivers for the past many years. But those insulins that are so costly have now gone generic. So that, I mean, it just takes a little bit of something like that and it really brings the number down. So that's what that is. Cardinal House, which is where we have our respite program, we had increased that contract this year by $6,000, which gives us a little bit of additional space to work with. Embark is for Route 19, the route that services the Northeast Quadrant. We have not increased that amount in 6 years. So this just tries to get us up to our part of that route cost. And then Heartline shows us an increase from last year, but it wasn't something that we were looking for last year either. It's not in our budget.
And no change to travel or capital outlay.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Christie? Once again, another budget that is asking for less.
Motion to approve.
And I guess it was a motion to receive.
Receive.
I mean, we can go.
I mean, I just thought I'd go ahead and just leap that over the finish line.
All right, we've got a motion to receive the estimated need for social services. Did we get a second?
Yes, I see.
Okay, we have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thanks, Christie.
Thank you.
Sorry, that was really loud.
Thank you.
I pulled a sheet of paper out from under his laptop. Sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, like, no, it's fine. I'm just, acoustically, I don't know how that happened.
I bet she
Is
couldn't do
there
it again
that
if
much-
she tried.
Is that, there's that much clamping power? Okay. We have a handout for everybody.
That's different than what was attached.
Correct. This is an updated one. That's correct.
Okay, so this is the general fund. 280, so this one.
So we need a motion to receive this new.
Yeah, let's see if Mr. Nelson wanted to make that motion.
I wasn't gonna even ask him.
The word need is a strong word.
Brandy, are you making a motion to receive the?
I am.
The updated
The
document?
updated document, yes.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion second to receive the updated document. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, I think it's Chris here. Yes. All right, Chris.
Good afternoon. I am prepared to go over 3 budgets. With your approval, I'd like to start with 280.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, starting with 51,000, that's salary and wages. We are not fully staffed. We need at least 2 more people to add to our staff, a utility worker and a building technician. We have, over the last couple of years, we've closed the gap some, but we are grossly under the state and national standard for salaries. We're trying to close that gap, so we're requesting 5% to do so to help us. We're having a lot of difficulty finding skilled workers. We're not having difficulty with utility, but now I have a staff full of utility and I need some technicians. So that's what we're attempting to do. Going down to any questions on that?
Your 2 new that you mentioned, the electrician and building tech, are those vacancies or are those 2 new positions?
No, I'm speaking of the vacancies
Okay.
that I'm trying to hire. I've hired an electrician recently and a utility. I hired 2 utility workers, an electrician recently, but I still need to hire another utility and a building technician, a HVAC technician.
So on your salary worksheet, the bottom line says, where it lists your positions, full-time positions, the bottom line there says technicians, new positions, 9 months. Are those vacancies or are those new positions?
Next page.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah. Those are the new positions I spoke of.
Not vacancies, new positions.
Right,
Okay,
yeah, we're looking for, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
those will need to go down in the new position section.
There's a section.
Well, and shouldn't they be annualized? Also.
Did you just put 9 months because you're assuming that you wouldn't have them on for the full 12 months?
No,
By the time
we
you
will
hire,
have,
it goes
we'll
down.
have them all for 12 months.
Okay, then you need to, are they being paid for 3 months out of a different fund? Is that why it only has 9 months on here?
You answer that.
No.
Okay, then, go ahead and update this, put those new positions down in the new position section, and go ahead and take that 9 months off of there, and make sure that your totals represent a full fiscal year and not 9 months.
Okay.
Good catch, Brandy.
And the only other question I had, when you spoke, you said a 5% for salary raises, but your sheets indicated 2.5.
The 2.5 is the merit raises that already happened.
Christie, I think
Oh,
what
I
they,
see.
I think they've added in the salary adjustments, that, like that
You're right.
top line 6149 is the 2.5% plus an additional 5% is what I'm guessing they did.
Yeah, I see it now.
Okay, so of course, fringe and benefits, the adjustments are according to salaries and what have you. Pretty self-explanatory. Going down to travel, 53,000. We, in anticipation of all the projects that are ongoing and coming up in the next year or so, we anticipate a lot of movement, and that's why we've added to those categories: lodging, registration fees, airfare to the sum of 5,000 that was not in last year's. We have attempted to, as far as our operating, we've attempted to keep everything as flat as possible, but we anticipate that will be a necessary add.
And I'm sorry, did you say, was that for like continuing education, those sort of things?
Continuing education, getting fully staffed and in support.
Certifications and things of that
Yes,
nature?
yes.
Okay.
And in support of all the projects that are going on, dealing with all the moving parts that are happening right now. Moving on to this is kind of getting into the meat of the operations, the 54,000 category. Like I said, we tried to keep everything as flat as possible. You will see from, let's say, 54, 1, 51, 52, 53, several of them, 56, 52. These are, as you know, last year, June, we lost our office manager of 37 years, and we have a new office manager. So these are just kind of in-house adjustments we're making as to the way she handled things, as to the way our new office manager feels more comfortable handling it. It doesn't affect the bottom line. It's just movements from one category to another category. So you'll see different adjustments on there, but these are not. We're not asking for more money. Things are just getting moved to different categories and consolidating some certain things. I can go line by line if you like.
I get what you're saying, and I think we have that occasionally with different departments, moving some from one line item and just moving it to the other, and it's a zero sum. But this is showing an increase in M&O of 37, almost 38,000. So not all of it is.
No, not all of it. I was going to point that out, because I was going to go to the ones that
on the building and grounds vendors maintenance. In years past, my recollection is that you guys have asked for an additional 50,000 most years in that. Is this indicative, because it says vendors maintenance, is this indicative of work that we're currently doing and there's contracts that are increasing, or is this representative of new contracts that you're wanting to bring different vendors in to do different work, more work?
Yes, we use this line item in support of projects. Every project, whether we're doing the entire project or whether engineering is doing the project, whether it's a GC on the project, we always support the project. And in support of the project, this is where we use the monies to close certain gaps, to finalize projects, to take care of any problems that unforeseen problems that may occur.
Right, I get all that. My question is the increase of $50,000, is that a known quantity or is that a guesstimation?
That's a guesstimation.
Okay.
But it's an educated guess. It's looking at the past and anticipating what's going to happen in the future.
Okay.
And Kone went down.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Wow.
Well, we have, those elevators completed
Mm-hmm.
and the courthouse. That helps. As we complete elevators, it will help. So you were referring to this to 54-156 is what we were talking about. Yes. That's in support of projects.
The professional services, the 54,455.
455.
Down further, your last, it's the 15,000.
Yes, that's a move from 51 and 52 has been moved to that. If you go up to 51, building and grounds, we moved some money out of there, so you'll see a decrease. And we moved some monies down to professional services, where it probably should have been all along.
Oh, your maintenance and repair supplies.
Yeah, decrease of 13,000, increase of 15, so it's a $2,000 increase overall for those three line items.
Capital outlay, we kept it flat, no changes. Any questions? Anything else? Okay, that was kind of the hard part. Next one is custodial. It's 285. If I may. Are we good?
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah, just communicating about potential formula errors, but go ahead.
Down at 54,000, you will see an increase on service contracts. That was because of day porters, the judicial services. They wanted our porters to come in the day instead of in the evenings to get day porters. It instituted a slight increase, so that was to accommodate the courts. So they want their areas cleaned in the day instead of in the evenings.
I thought we've been doing that for the last at least year, if not more.
Yeah, we started deep into last year. This will be the first full year of it.
Why is that?
They didn't like the porters would come and open doors as they were cleaning, and the judges didn't like that the doors were left open as long as they were left open. They had certain issues, so they just preferred that we would come and clean in the day, which constituted a rate change. And, janitorial supplies, we put a 10%, that's just national cost for paper goods and things like that. We anticipate a 10% increase, and that's really the least of it.
So Chris, where I'm not really following is if we've deep into last fiscal year, we made that change. Was that not part of the, because this is all for custodial contract, right?
Yes. Mhm.
So have we not been paying an increase in the contract this year for those services?
Yes, we have. We had money, but, we'll need to increase.
It just wasn't budgeted.
Yeah, it wasn't budgeted for it. We had the money to do it, but it wasn't budgeted for it, so now we're budgeting for it.
Okay. Okay, any questions?
How much was the difference when you changed it to the judges, the daytime collection opposed to after hours?
5,000.
Yes. But it went from 51,000 to 56,000.
How much would it go down if I just put my trash in the hallway instead of? I know.
Didn't we already have this
Yes,
conversation?
I bring it up every time, I'm sorry. Because I don't mind doing that.
Well, some people are a little more cooperative than others. You're one of the cooperative ones.
Cody's a cooperative one?
I know,
He's
right?
very
Isn't that
cooperative.
weird?
Cody's very cooperative.
I don't have as much traffic and stuff, so it's easier for me to accommodate than it is for others.
Now our capital improvements,
I'm sorry, Chris?
capital improvements, is the third budget. It's pretty much we need to keep our courthouse carpet fund, we need to keep our annex carpet fund. That's an ongoing thing that we just continue to do this, 55010, that's the third floor project, making the new, judges chambers, it's ongoing. We'll need money to make that happen.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, which,
mm-hmm.
Which will
The $35,000.
Yes.
and on the courthouse carpet, I know last year we talked about the court fund, there was gonna be a certain amount that was gonna be made available for carpeting and that kind of stuff. Was
Yes,
that-
we're using that for projects where, the 11th floor, we have a project where we're expanding a jury room.
Right. Yeah, I'm
So we're
just-
using those funds for projects that they want us, certain improvements. But this fund is just the ongoing carpet that needs to be changed because it's getting old, it's tearing or what have you.
Okay.
Chris, do you remember what your total budget request was, or what your budget is right now for 2010?
2010.
Like this fiscal year? I'm just looking at the worksheet. It's
Oh.
just got the proposed budget. I'm looking for an overall increase.
I
If you
don't think,
have it, it's
yeah,
okay. I can,
I don't think we'll have an overall.
oh, okay. You go with the 35 then?
Because we've eliminated, we had money for the 11th floor project at Stairwells, and we also had money for detention center that we've taken off.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a line item for 500, 1,000, and there was a line item for 70,000 that we're using other funds to do, so we don't need that money. So this, we should be going down there.
Any questions? If not, is there a motion to receive the estimate of needs presented by Mr. Ponder?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to receive the estimate of needs. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Planning Commission. Mr. Brand, howdy.
Howdy, Roger. Greetings, buddy.
You can tell he's used to Planning Commission and the podium.
Yeah.
It's me, I guess.
Where we start?
General fund.
General fund. So general fund between the last budget and this proposed budget, you'll see overall it's gone down. The reason for that is really the master plan. That's the difference. I can give you an update on the master plan if you want, where we currently stand with that. If you want to go into that detail.
Now this is showing that you're going up.
We have an overall increase in travel.
Travel, as far as the general fund from last year to this year, is the same one.
It doesn't show any for this current fiscal year versus the next fiscal year.
Engineering paid for you last year. Yeah, but engineering paid for some, but we got some.
No, that was for you to travel.
Yeah, engineering helps pay for some of ours just because we're fee reliant a lot of the time, so. If they have it in their budget, they'll help facilitate some traveling if needed.
Well, that would be in your special revenue, not general fund. Though.
Right, that's true. On mine, I show it basically the same amount, 6,000.
Yeah, what we're looking at, the FY 23-24 adopted budget is not showing anything in any of the travel line items.
So it's like you didn't budget anything for travel last year or this current year.
But yeah, if you look back at the report of prior expenditures,
So
the
the
third
some.
page, yeah, it doesn't show any travel at all. As far as net amount appropriations by excise board for this year, $0 on travel.
You probably know that our revenue
Possible.
that probably wasn't mistaken.
Zero. Okay.
We'll correct that. But I think as far as everything else goes, it's pretty similar. The only thing, like I said, is the difference is the master plan. Is the big difference. Now, we haven't expended any funds yet. We're in the process of trying to go hire a consulting firm to help us with that. Bids came back on April 1st. We're in the process of setting up interviews with those firms within the next week or two. Where hopefully by May we'll have somebody selected. But I think the issue is going to become, for us, is the proposals that we have at this point, the amount of money that they're asking for to complete what we're needing is probably $100,000, $200,000 more than what we have. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go through this process, select a firm. We're going to go out and do a lot of the legwork as far as public meetings, public surveys, all of that. Complete that ourselves to where we can save ourselves $100,000, give or take. And then once that process is complete, then enter a contract with them to basically write the plan at that point. So I see that probably taking a year. So we'll probably enter into contract with them in 2025.
And are you planning on paying for that out of your special revenue account? Is that where you're planning on those funds?
Right, the
coming from?
majority of those funds will come out of our special revenue. The $50,000 that was provided in the general fund was to help with that. I mean, we're talking about total overall cost for the master plan is in the neighborhood of $200,000 to $300,000. But what we're asking for, or what we can save ourselves,
Right.
is about
When was the $50,000 put in your general fund? This current fiscal year?
This current.
Because it's
See,
not
it's not
showing,
reflected here.
it's not reflecting on this estimate of needs.
So yeah, that should be moved over.
Because on your M&O section 54,000,
Yes.
that 54456 master plan amendment,
Yeah.
it has $0.
Yeah. That should be moved over.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll have to correct that, but overall, it's what we're asking for the next fiscal year is less.
Okay.
Than what we asked for in the current fiscal year, as far as the general budget.
Have to revise this one.
Yeah, it's weird, for some reason on the document went out back for budget board last year, the $6,000 was requested on there and it never moved over. And the 50,000 was requested and it never moved over either, so that's odd.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at that, but yeah, that's, yeah.
Well, the report of prior expenditures only shows $2,160 as far as a net appropriations for this fiscal year. So I don't know that 50,000 is actually in there. I don't know that there's ever added in there. So if you would just take a look at that.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and receive this estimate of needs since there's, since it looks like this might be correct. But if it turns out that it's not, just go ahead and resubmit a new one to Cassie and then we can move forward. Yeah, otherwise it's like a 43,000,
Right, that's what I'm.
$87 reduction instead of a $6,013 increase.
So something, yeah, something we can transfer over.
$13 is weird too. I mean,
It really
Five
is.
percent.
I can't find it.
well, it's a FICA issue,
Yeah, it's gonna be.
but the one for 24-25 is correct. It's 7.65% of 195 is the correct number. For some reason last year that number was whack.
We need BET t-shirts to say that number is whack. Whack attack.
So on our special revenue fund, you see that's pretty consistent. On the general fund, as far as the employees that are part of that, it's Marquita and myself, and then the rest of the employees are under the special revenue fund. So all of our inspectors, surrenders, they're under the special revenue fund. But as far as differences between the special revenue fund, they're pretty similar from what the current budget is to what we're proposing.
See, on this one, you've got 90K
Yeah.
in there for the master plan. I think it was loaded. I think it's been in there in your special revenue. How have your fees been this year?
They've been pretty steady. I mean, we raised the fees at the beginning of this year to some degree, specifically the application fees for zoning, planning. That was raised last year actually. Beginning of this year, we raised our inspection fees by $5. So typically, most inspections are $50. We raised that to $55. to offset some of the costs that we're running into.
Well, I know you guys were bringing in more fees for a while, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. And we got to where you guys were able to fully fund your entire operation out of the special revenue account. And then what we would do at the beginning of the year for some of the new ones is we would put an amount similar to what Eric presented, the $276,000 general fund ask. We just start the year with that on the watch list, as we may need to fund that, but they think they're gonna be able to fund it. And we went numerous years where they were able to fund just completely out of that special revenue account. Was it maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we started to see a reduction in those fees. And so then we started out having to go ahead and put some in general fund, and then it's kind of equalized. I'm just wondering if we're trending back to having more to where we can get back to that model.
No. I don't know if we'll ever get there, to be honest with you. Just current economic conditions as far as housing, cost to do new developments as far as infrastructure, road building, drainage improvements, those sort of things. As you know, with our own projects, is astronomical. So I would say as far as new development and coming online, we have a few small ones. I would say over the last year, we might have a total of 40 lots across 3 subdivisions. So you're not gonna get much from that.
Right.
And then the other issue that you're dealing with is, zoning and planning. Obviously, those go hand in hand with actual development. And so if there's no drive for that, then we're just kind of at a stalemate.
Right.
So we haven't really got any new zoning. We see some here and there. Most of the activity that we get is in District 3 by far. There's always been this thought process once the turnpike is built that we would have new development on that side. Well, at this point, that really hasn't come to be. So the thought.
Still early.
Right. I mean, but the thought process is with that.
Don't bring up that turnpike though, please.
The thought process is you just don't have.
Trust me, Colton, you'll be getting phone calls.
Great.
You just don't have the infrastructure. So with District 3, you have some infrastructure as far as water, Deer Creek water. The other part of District 3 right now, as far as development, is Oklahoma City's at capacity as far as their sewer lines in the northwest part of the county. So they've got to fix that issue for them to continue to serve outside of their city limits. That's what they're going to do. So that's going to take at least 5-6 years to get that issue fixed. So I think the combination of things is going to hinder us more than help us. It's just one of those things that we play by ear. I mean, during COVID, as an example, a lot of the development that we got was not new homes. It was people redoing what was already there.
Yeah.
So now you're on the flip side of the coin where if you're looking for something new, the cost to do that is substantially higher than what it used to be. So I don't see that changing for this upcoming budget cycle. We may never get back to that point, to be honest with you.
Okay. I mostly wanted to bring it up because we've got some newer members in here, and just to kind of give a little bit of the history of the way we've done that in the past. And hopefully maybe can get there in the future, just because that's going to mean business is booming. So for the county as a whole.
Would you happen to know where we are in relation to other cities for their inspections and permits? I just noticed that because the Oklahoma City's released an article this morning that their rates are going up for several of those different services.
Right, if you look at Oklahoma City compared to us or anybody for that, I mean, they're substantially more.
Right.
So we're never gonna get to that point. I mean, we've gone up, like I said, as far as inspection, $5 for each inspection. So that may not sound like a lot on, just on the surface, but it's quite a bit overall. Obviously, that depends on the projects that are going on, so if no one's building a house or doing any improvements, those
Doesn't matter.
increases really doesn't matter. So it's just one of those things, we're just gonna have to wait and see what kind of activity we get. I mean, I would say based right now on the number of permits that we have from January till now, we're pretty much on line with what we had last year. Maybe a little bit less. I will say we've got more commercial this year than we have in the past, which is unusual. I don't quite understand that at this moment. Some of these businesses that are coming in, we'll just have to see if they take off or not. I can't quite make the connection in my mind at this point in time, but we have more commercial now than we have in the past. Another thing that we've taken on is fire review as far as the fire marshal goes. I think there was some thought there that might help improve our budget, but at the end of the day, we're kind of a pass-through in the sense that we have to work, we don't have the staff that's knowledgeable to review those plans, to do the necessary inspections. So as an example, Deer Creek School is building a new school out there. We don't have the staff to go out and inspect that school. They're not certified for that sort of thing. So we don't have the people to review the plans. We also don't have the people to go out and do those type of inspections. So we've hired a third-party vendor. There's a few that we usually work with to deal with those inspections, to deal with the review of those plans. And so we're kind of a pass-through in the sense of, sure, we've got some funds, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, the majority of the money is being made by the third-party folks for their services.
Right. I was just curious to see if we were competitive
Well,
compared to the others.
if you look at our stuff overall compared to Oklahoma City, we're not even that close.
Yeah.
And it had been quite a while since we had increased fees when we did them this last time, right? It'd been
But I mean,
Long
as
time,
an
so.
example, their board of adjustment cases are like $1,500 to go through that process. Our board of adjustment is $300. So it's just apples and oranges. You really can't compare. We work with ACOG. ACOG, they do usually every year, maybe every couple of years, they'll ask for input for every city and county that's within their area. And we go through the process of putting in permit fees, inspection fees to see how everybody lines up. And I would say everybody, for the most part, is pretty spot on. The big difference is Oklahoma City, Edmond, if you're connecting into their infrastructure as far as water and sewer, that's where they make their money. Permit-wise, they're probably cheaper than we are if you're just looking at straight permits. But they make all their money off the utility connection. And we don't, obviously, own any of that. So that's where we're hindered, if you will. So I don't, like I said, I don't see that changing at this point. From what's happened this year, last year, I think that the other thing that kind of hinders that is the master plan. We'll see how that plays out in this rendition of the master plan, but the previous efforts that we've made as far as the master plan and regulations that we have updated, we always have public meetings, several public meetings. And the thing that we hear all the time is we want to keep our area rural and nature. So you're going to have some big paradigm shift in the way people want to live for a lot of these areas to develop. Like Cody stated, we were getting yelled at because of the turnpike, even though we had nothing to do with the turnpike. So
yeah, those zoning meetings that we had.
so it's you still have that mindset that people are out in that area because they like that quality of life. And so the only way you're going to flip that around is convince them that more is better, but I don't think you're ever going to get there with the folks that live out there.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Eric beyond what we've already discussed? If not, is there a motion to receive the estimate of needs presented by the planning department?
So moved.
We got a motion to receive
Second.
and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Sorry. Okay, let's go ahead and take up looks like the last ones on here are those of us around the table here. I know Christy is gotta be out, but I think we got plenty of time, but we'll go ahead and, just in case, we'll go ahead and take yours up next. And then, so I think you need to be out by like 3:30 or so, right?
3:45, 3:50.
Okay, yeah. I said, I'm hoping that today goes like Monday and we're out of here by 3 and we're on track for that, so.
That'd be great.
Thank you.
That'd be great.
All right, Christy, you wanna go ahead and go, or do we wanna, does anybody need to take a break, or we wanna just plow through? Let's go ahead and go.
The treasurer's office operates out of 3 funds. 16% of our overall budget is from general fund dollars. We have 2 other special revenues. One is a little more restricted on what we can spend the money for, that's our resale. And our 3rd fund is mortgage tax fee, that is open to any operations of the office. We'll look at the general fund first. We're asking for an overall increase of $50,409. The bulk of that is going to be in salaries. We ask for this every year. We really have wanted to stay in line with the resale statute as it stands today. We really want to have general fund cover our current tax employees. That's our first line department. That's when you usually get hired into that and work your way up. That's people off the street that can be trained, our basic starting salary people. We always ask to cover those employees. We've gotten an increase one year, several years ago, but the last few years, none. So that's what we're asking for again. It's to cover almost 2 full employees, just what we're a little short for the 2. I will say we are, as of today, we are fully staffed, no vacancies. The fringe is the same. It'd be what we were, let's see.
So Christy, on your,
The fringe, I think we had people move from types of, single to family.
so on the salary page, the current number of budgeted positions is 12. Then over on the number of requested positions, would that need to be 14 for next year?
So we have them hired. What happens every year?
No, I know, you're gonna move some from one fund.
We don't get covered for those 12 in general fund. So we always move some part of the year into resale. It happens every year.
Okay, I got you. This isn't the amount to go ahead and put them into general fund for the entire year, but you have the 2 accounted for here and not on the employee numbers for the other.
Correct.
I got you.
Now, clearly, if we don't get this 50,000, we'll have to revise our resale budget.
Okay.
Let's see. Well, I think that was my other note. If we don't get the 51, we'll have to revise the resale to put them over there. And then our M&O is increase in postage and printing. Our resale covers the majority of these 2 types of expenses, but we do spread them with our other funds as well. And then there is something it's on travel. Let's see. Butch's travel went up. I'm sorry, it's that very, very last line under M&O called transfer. And that was some money that Butch's travel went up, but we didn't get funded for it. So really, it's over to the side of 3,600. Our overall increase, that shouldn't be added in, but.
Oh, so, okay.
Which goes back to our discussion yesterday about the way these transfers are reflected on here. We need to figure that out.
Yeah, that really, I mean, it's good to have the note there, it reminded us, but it looks like we're asking for a little more than, the overall increase is showing a little more than what we really are asking. That was it for general fund unless anyone had questions.
Anybody have any questions? Okay.
Resale, we lowered our title searches and our publications. So that we all under M&O. We did have an increase in postage and printing. And a really big jump in resale is we are taking on a new imaging system. It's about $558,000, and another about 10 to 11 licenses and fees that we're doing. It's a big image project we're taking on. And again, this budget will have to be revised if we need to put some employees over there. But really, that's it. The new imaging system, you'll see it under 54455 under M&O, and then the license and fees are on the first page under M&O. 54016. I think there's a note on there that says what it's doing. And then our mortgage fees, our smaller fund, we don't have anyone paid out of here currently. We have used this fund in the last, this current year and next year. We're doing a remodel. If anyone's been up to the office, it's a mess. But we just started, we're about to finish phase 2, and we'll continue to use this fund to finish phase 3 and 4 next year. That's all we have, unless there's some questions or.
Somebody have anything?
I guess just me, what's an imaging system, like, what do you mean by that?
It's used to, like,
We get thousands and thousands of returns from the statements we mail out, and we're having to scan them in on what we have scanners onto our mainframe and stuff. Our servers, they're getting full. And plus, since they're getting full, we're losing stuff, so we've got to go figure out something to do to save the documents that we're losing.
Okay, just was curious. What'd you say?
Wi-Fi.
They can scan it. 365.
Everybody get your phones out.
Let's get to work.
Is there a motion to receive the treasurer's estimate of needs?
So,
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Are those debatable motions?
Anything's debatable.
that's a lot of questions.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the assessor. Let's go ahead.
I think the presentation is better if I follow after.
Okay.
Their instruction. We'll start off with our general fund, on 130. I think you're gonna see something new on our ask this year that we've never asked for before. Is our office really only has one special revenue fund, and that's if we sell data. That money has to be used for specific purposes of buying new mapping equipment, computers, software, that type of thing. So, in light of what's happened with the governor vetoing our bill yesterday,
Oh, I didn't know.
that the anticipation would be that we would use this bill to eliminate perhaps some of our workload. With the result of that being vetoed, we're thinking we would like to have the remodel done of our 3rd floor, where we could open up some teller windows and work with that in the hallway, and then take our existing public area and make that more of a floor space for staff. But as a result of yesterday's veto, I'm really going to need that money. So you'll see us $100,000 as a lapse that we're asking to come back to us. It's very similar in nature of what we've done with other offices in the past, where we gave that money back to the sheriff's office or the jail to redo their jail doors, upgrade their computer systems and so forth. But by doing that, that will allow me to bring additional staff in that I'm gonna probably have to hire. I know next year for sure that I'm gonna have to hire at least 5 or 10 more people. I have no other way of doing our workloads as we continue to grow. If I'm not allowed to use the systems and tools for auditing purposes by tax commission, I have no choice but to bring on more staff. I have no room upstairs on the 4th floor to bring any additional staff on at this point in time. So we're trying to make room for staff on the 3rd floor to bring some of those down that we feel will be able to work from that location, and then hire the staff that we need upstairs, which will be our appraisal division that goes out and measures our properties, takes all the characteristics, does all the evaluations and so forth, and also does all the appeals. A lot of work that goes into that. So that's the thing that you're really going to see. That's something that's new for us this year. It is of great importance to us. Other than that, you're going to see the changes in salary are simply regards to the elected official salary and the chief, and aligning those with those by statute requirements. There is a little bit of a difference in salary in regards to the ESRI project that we pushed county-wide. That we have 2 individuals. One is Tim, he's taking control of that. He has his assistant Gabe as his technician that we've been out many of your offices working on those projects. And Tim's going to give us a little presentation a little bit in a minute to show you the advance of what we've got going there. You heard David comment about it the other day, how impressive he was with it. But we do have some cost things that are going up just the same as you guys are with airfare and meals, so forth. So you're starting to see some of that in our travel. It just costs more to do these things, to get our accreditations, our certifications, to go and get the knowledge that we need. That is not based here in Oklahoma. It's always based out of state. We have no determination of where those conferences and schools are held. We just have to go to them. But it just costs more to do those things. So you're seeing some of those increases there. One big item that you're going to see, I think you've already seen it too, Christy, is in postage. Yeah, in case you haven't seen it, we just recently had a postal increase up to 68 cents, but starting in July, it's going to 73 cents. So when you mail 400,000 to 500,000 pieces of mail, that's roughly $20,000 or more of increase that we just have to absorb.
What'd you say it's going to in July?
73. Yeah.
Almost a cheaper drive yourself for long.
Now we do work with the vendor that gets us a zip postal discount, so we do get that. But yeah, for the pre-sort, it's a cost that goes up, and that's for everything we have to do in our office.
You guys want to do transportation?
Yeah. I'm going to get a drugstore break, we'll drop your mail off.
Yeah. And then you're going to see some of the other increases as we look at for the ESRI piece. We're making sure we have all the credits in place that will build all the projects for not only our office, but all the other offices that we're working with for District 3, District 1, Treasurer, Clerk, all those things, is that we have to make sure we have the foundations in place to make those projects kick off and run. There's going to be a change in our Azure service as we put more load on the cloud. We just got to have a bigger, beefier, faster server to handle all that, so there's going to be some of that. The main thing I said is you'll see the capital outlay is $100,000 for the building and grounds remodel. That's moving forward. That's becoming more and more important. I just don't know where we're going to house our people, particularly whenever the 4th floor starts getting tore up to build new courtrooms and so forth. You get to see how that's going to impact our staff there.
Is that something you can start this year? Like you had mentioned stuff that we've done in the past, but we never let it lapse.
Right.
So like we just used it in the current year that it was in.
In talking with those that would help us with that, there's no way for them to take those projects on, I think, in this time frame. The idea would be that we would take that money, lapse it. If it were provided back to us, that we would line item it specifically for that use so that it would not be absorbed or used somewhere else. It would be a dedicated revenue source specifically for that.
Maybe we just buy a bigger building.
We're open to any suggestions. It's just our timelines are narrowing and I just don't have room for staff.
I mean, it is
something that PBA is looking at.
I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, we're open to any solutions. It's just the only solution that I know of right now is dealing with my current situation. We're looking at some computer drives, some server drives that we need to buy for some storage. That's about 15 grand. Some new computers. We are going to be moving our Microsoft Office 365 to MIS. That is out of our general fund. We still have a special revenue fund for our revalve. Those individuals will still stay on that side of it, so the revalve will pick up that part of it. We only pay, I believe, a 10% difference on that. But that's really all I have for general. And I know that we talked last year about that bring on the Esri product and how much time our GIS techs would work on general fund versus additional supplemental money. I think last year we were split at 9 months on the assessor side, 3 months on the supplement side, a full half year on Gabe, the additional technician. So there's an additional 6 months that would have to come onto that for his salary. But with Tim, his projects are really taking him more so out of our office. It's going to be a flip where I see 3 months of assessor work, 9 months of work outside of the office, which is a good thing because we're starting to see the development of these programs come online. And I think that it's a good thing. It's just I can't pay for something that is really, in my opinion, outside of our office. In that manner.
Didn't we talk a little bit about creating a department in Esri?
Yeah, we talked about moving it to like planning and engineering or something like that, where they already have GIS folks in there and they can help it. Now, with the amount that you guys are doing for the rest, I think it might be worth having that conversation this year. And then it would offload it from your books. And because I mean, this looks like you're increasing your salaries significantly for your operations when a lot of that's not. It's for the Esri piece. So if we move that into planning.
Yeah, and we're open for those discussions. I just want to caution us to make sure that the program starts with us. We built it with that, and it made sense to keep it with us since we have all the knowledge and understanding moving forward. We're not opposed to, like I said, if the baby gets big enough and has its own house, we're fine with that. But I just want to make sure that that's the right decision that we make, because I don't want these projects to stall or not be successful because of some other move of that nature. That's my only concern.
Okay, and that is valid. I think the presentation you have is the Esri, so we can maybe talk to Tim about that.
In fact, I think that would probably be a good time to see that so that he can show you exactly, I think, the time frames. You'll start seeing the work that's involved there.
Okay, well, let's wait on that until Christy comes back again. Sure. She shouldn't go long. Because that's something new. If we go through the rest, I mean, it's stuff that she's heard before. So, go ahead.
Have you actually ran through the numbers? Like, because again, I don't feel like that 384 is correct. Not your fault, but I don't feel like it's $384,000 increase. Just doing some quick math in my head. But have you actually ran through the numbers to see what the increase actually is? And the reason I ask is, I mean, just go back up, for example, and use the section of where are we at here?
24, 94.
Backwards. I mean, like if you just went back and used like let's say we just did travel, for example. I mean, just running through those numbers. I mean, 3672. That's see, yeah. So just those top numbers alone are the 26,950, and it don't even have the 8717 subtracted out of it. You see what I'm saying? So that'd be 18 and change, not the 20. Like it's just stuff like that.
Sure.
I don't know. Like up on your formulas and your salaries, again, not you, I'm saying you, that's not what I mean.
That's all right.
I mean, your salaries went up, but your FICA went down significantly. And I mean, again, just doing quick math in my head, 8% of 2.3 million is not 201,000, it can't be. So,
Well, and then even at that, even if all those numbers are right, if you look at the grand total budget request of 4.1 million minus your
Right.
adopted budget last year, the 3.9 million, that's a difference of $220,560, not $384,000.
yeah, I just didn't know.
I think we had multiple estimate of needs that have had some formula.
I think there's
So-
a technical term for that. Whack. Yeah.
So maybe if we can clear those up, can you get with finance to look at the formulas on?
I just brought it up. Maybe it might make it a little shinier. At least.
Absolutely.
Because the formulas keep reading. I mean, honestly, even some of them just converting from Excel to a PDF. I had one instance yesterday where the person, we had to actually create a PDF on our end and send it to her because for whatever reason, it was messing up two formulas.
Yeah.
Just to try to turn it into a PDF. So it might be time to recreate these on a new.
Do we usually do that? Convert them to PDFs to attach to the? We do.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever an Excel document on them.
At least not last year, which was my first year doing it.
Yeah, I just pointed out.
No,
Just because
I think it's a
it
good
might
thing.
make the number look a little,
More clear.
yeah,
I agree. Okay.
possibly less, maybe twice as much. I don't really know. Just by this one, I don't know. So.
I think it's. All right, you want to go ahead and have Tim make his presentation and Christie's back, so. Those that haven't met, this is Tim Connor. He's our GIS technician that's taken the Esri project and the projects that we pushed countywide. So.
Yeah, thank you all for letting me come speak. Really excited about this project. It's really, you're about to see some really good fruit that we're, starting to see come to fruition here. Not really a full year. We've really only been doing this for 6 months, but let's look back even further a little bit. So we're going to start off. This originally started off as the first iteration of the countywide GIS program because we decided we needed a hub. That's where we can put all of our GIS because we knew eventually we were going to grow big. So this is where you can find every single thing that's GIS, and we worked with MIS actually. It kind of ties in between. We worked with MIS to actually get this on the county homepage and within the county information department. So you can actually see on the tab and go to County GIS Hub. You can look at all of our projects here and download tax parcels from the assessor's office. Look how we get our money, how we break up every dollar that we get, and it's really cool. It's really good. I know this is a static image, but you can also get to the county pages as well with districts 1, 2, and 3, the assessor's office, sheriff's office, everybody up there. You can get into where they are at. So the next thing that we did, it was really interesting when meeting with the districts. They really wanted a way to have their constituents look up and see who their commissioner was. Maybe they don't know that very well. So you can type in an address or click on the map and it'll tell you your commissioner, the city you're in, your house rep, your senate rep, your school district, and then who owns that property that you clicked on. So it's again, everybody's just coming together into one thing really. The next thing that we did, this one is actually for MIS. So MIS used a contact us that what they did is someone would fill out a form, it would go directly to MIS, it'd sit in an inbox until someone got to it, and then it'd go directly to who it needed to go as a forwarded email. This right here is Survey 123 with Esri, where all these people do is the constituent will fill out a form with their name, email, address, cell phone number, any way of contacting. They have drop-down lists, so if, for instance, if it was the assessor's office getting this, it would be, you would click on the assessor's office, put your subject in, that'll fill out a subject line for the email that it sends, and you'll be able to put in what's bothering you and a way to, again, contact you. It's using not only Survey 123, but also Microsoft Power Automate to be able to do the back end of email, because what it does is once that hits submit, it will go directly to the representatives. I've talked with everybody here to get those reps, so hopefully that's working really well for y'all. I really think this is pretty neat. Next slide. So this is a really cool one too. Again, we've had District 3 on board with this for quite some time with projects. We also now have District 1 on board. hoping to get it further down into the line to District 2 as well. But you can see all projects going on for current, completed, or the future fiscal year with projects. And we kind of did some updates with the map as well, so where you can see easily city boundaries as well, because that was one thing added by District 1 and District 3. They also asked for that. This is a citizen report, problem reporter, so we were able to get this going and actually deployed. If you look up there, you see some. This is actually a semi-live look. I took this screenshot yesterday. So you can see there are some things that are actually going on. What happens is a constituent will come on and they will say, hey, I want to submit a request. They'll fill out a form saying what it is, if it's a pothole, if it's high brush, or if it's something along the lines. It'll go directly to District 3 because currently they're the only ones involved or wrapped up in this. Hopefully we will, again, kind of with time. It takes a lot of time to get these things going, so I understand there's a lot of missing or back and forth pieces. But it'll go directly to their representative, and then they can send their crew out there, and it's a way for the constituent to go back to this site and kind of see, hey, where's it going? What's happening? Have they resolved my issue? Have they not? And it also helps our guys because whenever they get out there, whenever they have someone call on the phone, normally they don't know who's calling me, what's happening, who am I going to see? So this helps because we get them a name and a phone number to be able to contact them when we're on our way out there.
They can also attach pictures to that. So if they've got a pothole out there, they take a picture of it, they attach it to that, they send it to us, we get it, we automatically send one of our crews out there to work on it.
Mm-hmm. So it's done by text?
It's done by a website.
So it has a workflow piece.
So workflow, it's another email.
Yeah. Okay. And we say, received, assigned, completed,
processing,
and send it. We send a response back to whoever put it out there to let them know that it's done.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like with OG&E when you're hours out.
Yeah, definitely.
See a map and kind of get some idea.
It's very similar to that. Yeah.
And like with OG or not OG&E, but whenever you do the locate, if you're going to dig or something, and then they send you those emails, and then you can track the progress.
Exactly.
It's really similar to that.
We talked to the fire department out of Deer Creek the other day, well, it's been a month or so ago now, and showed them our project list out there. They actually take that in their fire truck with them to see which roads are being worked on so they can detour around it so they don't get caught up in and so it not only assists, our constituents, but also emergency services, and hopefully we can get it out there to some of these other groups too.
Definitely. Speaking of fire departments, right here is emergency management's outdoor warning testing reporting tool. I know it's a mouthful, but green dots means that the outdoor warning device, aka the tornado sirens, are working. And we got our fire chiefs out there just to log into this map. They can click here to submit a test, and once they click the submitted, it's going to take them to another survey. They'll fill out the survey. Did it work? Did it rotate? Did it do everything that it needed to do? Or is there any notes? And we need to go out there and help them with it. We now can see this all in one map rather than having to call them on the phone or send emails back and forth to try and relay this information. So it's a way to visualize it and see it really in real time.
How do you get word out about it?
This one is an internal piece only. So they wanted it with just the fire districts and with emergency management.
But the one before, where your project's going, how do I know?
That one? So you can actually access this on the hub site, and also you can access it through okcountyroads.org.
Well, you can go to Miles Davison's website, and it's out there too.
And we also have a splash screen. We also have a splash screen, and once other districts want to come on board, we also have a way to split it out in between them as well. So there's a go-between though. If you go to okcountyroads.org, it should pull up a site that then you can navigate to this.
We're currently working on getting our person set up, so
yeah, slowly getting into it. I don't want to overload anybody, so. Outdoor warning. So this one was actually really cool because not only does it help the assessor's office, help myself, and help all of y'all, you guys probably didn't even notice it. This is actually a Python script, might be speaking overhead, but what we did is we created a script that will nightly update our tax parcels. So it will go through, and if, say, I'm up there doing my deeds whenever I'm working in the morning, if I do a name change, a split, a division, or anything like that, it will then show up on the tax parcels the next day, just like our internal data set does for the web. So if you see it on the web, you should see it on the mapping site as well, unless we made a slight error.
We would never have had a live mapping site ever.
We've gone from.
So this is brand new. And awesome.
We've gone from. So whenever I got here in 2016, we were monthly, and we were sending updates to our provider. Then I got here and we started doing updates ourselves, and so that went to 2 weeks, or no, 2 weeks. We went bi-weekly. Then we went weekly once we went to Parcel Fabric, which was about 2 or 3 years ago, and now we're at nightly. So it's just a really good and easy process to be able to make certain we're getting the best data out there that we can, and it helps everybody else, because I know the clerk uses our tax parcels for their mapping site, and then everybody like District 3, District 1, District 2, you guys will have that out there on your iPads and you see who has it, even though it's the most up-to-date information. Sheriff's Office, working with y'all, you'll hear a little bit more of what we're doing for y'all here in a little bit. The County Assessor site, as you know, we want to try and roll things in as we can, so this is a new mapping site that we have out there currently for the public to use to see if they like it. If they like it, it's something we can think about in the future. But it was just because we were able to sign that EA agreement. So this is the signs data. So I know that a lot of people know that we're already doing sign captures and bridge and culverts. So this funky looking thing right here is culvert. The red dots you see out there are bridges for inspection, and then they have signs out there as well. The reason why I wanted to highlight this is because we've actually gone through what's called a quick capture situation, where instead of having to get out the iPad, make certain you're selecting the right thing and hitting the drop-down list, you can now just tap on the icon that you see. You know it's a stop sign. It's going to bring up the camera, you snap a picture, and you're moving on. So it's a much easier, much, in my opinion, even safer, because they're not having to stay on the side of the road for as long. So it's a better deployment. So goals for this year in the short term, we're just trying to ensure that we're getting everything back up to speed with installments. So right now we're running on a older portal installation, but we have to be really careful with that portal installation because of the assessor's office and the stuff that they run. We have to make certain that it all coincides correctly with the right inputs. Another thing that we're going to work on is migrating some users, mainly with planning. They use ArcGIS. They use ArcGIS a lot. They use ArcMap. We're going to try and help them with their issues that they've had. Once I get some time to maybe upgrade them to ArcGIS Pro, and to be able to get them more moving into it. They've had some complaints about it, and I think some training might help. Try and help all the districts get on board, and try and modernize everything, get away from paper, make it more maybe mainstream, and do some more digital. Long term is just communicate with the entire county what we're trying to do, trying to get everybody on board, trying to help everybody out. We're not trying to make your lives harder, we're trying to make them easier. And then continue to work with Esri for any training and anything else. So this is actually quite intensive. This is what I've already gone over this with most of everybody here, or your representative that was at the technical planning meeting. But this is our next year recommended activities by Esri. So as you can see, we have enterprise upgrades, we have the automation, we have Munis, which that one's going to be a really big one, because I know not only does the clerk's office use Munis and Tyler, but so does all districts. So that one is something that I really want to get integrated as best as we can and get everybody into you know, more of a geospatial area. We'll have some consulting, and then we want to go through with District 1 wanted to do some 10-horn or some culvert ideas, so we'll try and get that maybe more available, get them up to speed. Again, we're just trying to get people back up into speed with everything. We did get winter weather ops just finished, actually. That's a big one off of our deal, but we don't have a winter storm now, so we don't know how it's going to work. So that's actually on there just in case we need enhancements to it. So we just got it kicked off. Hopefully we don't need to do that, but it's possible that we have to, you know, we want to change some things and it just might need to be going in. Paving assessment and mowing solution, those two will kind of run side by side, but we'll try and get those, again, spun up as quickly as possible, especially since we're in mowing season. What we're wanting to do with that one especially is it'll show where they've mowed, how long, you know, they calculate the miles right there, because I know, especially with District 3, they mow for Edmond, and so we can use those miles if it's a accurate enough GPS signal. We can then use that in billing with miles.
And one of the advantages on this, being able to take photos and upload all of the information, that Johnson grass grows fast out there, right? And I mean, how many times do we have mowers out there that run over a phone box or something like that? You looked and you didn't see anything. Exactly. You haven't mowed that area before. On something like this, it can be with the mowers, and whenever you find one, you take a picture of it and it's there, so they know that day when they're going out there
Whenever,
that there's a phone box hidden in there somewhere.
and whenever you're driving, it'll start saying, hey, in 150 feet, there's a culvert that you might not see because it's so overgrown. You don't want to run over a culvert, you go sideways. So it's really cool. Again, so with Sheriff, I kind of said I would get with this, and also with the Treasurer's Office, we have the warrant service field map. So that's to help with any warrants that you guys want to be able to keep track of. Especially for the Treasurer's Office, that one is more for business, personal, and those, what are they, not mobile home, what do we want to call them now? Manufactured homes. So that's one of those things that we're really, really gung-ho to get, but I know we just lost, so I kind of went a little bit sideways, that one. And the other one that we had for the Treasurer's Office that didn't get there quite yet is the resale map. We want to do a live resale map where whenever it's sold at auction, it comes off the map too. But that way people can see what they're buying whenever they go up to buy it. They know where the property is, what it is, and they don't just have to look at the legal description. So, tax bill. We want to scroll down a little bit. Again, situational awareness. We didn't get this last year. We really, really tried hard to get this with the Sheriff's Office because I think that would be a really beneficial thing to have on iPads for any county employee. To be able to see all calls for service. We didn't get to it. We had some hiccups and had some problems come up and timing issues just not aligned correctly because of scheduling. And so we had that. We want to try and get some crime and safety statistics, and also we're really happy to do a interactive map for all of the sheriff's deputies that do able commission. So I learned something new in our deal where in our meeting where we have to do the checks for all able commission. So our sheriff officers go out there and tell them if we're over-serving, under-serving, what, all the things that I'm still learning. But any type of incident that is happening there, they can log it all within an app, and it would be very similar to what you see with the bridge reporting and with the treasurer's resale reporting. So it'd be really, really cool because it would keep just a history of every single incident that might happen at that location. Website analytics for the Treasurer's Office, and we'll finally get to those delinquent properties for hopefully for this year for the resale. If you want to keep going. Okay, and emergency management is, I think, going to possibly round us out, but we have a lot of things for emergency management. They want to do a live map where they have these touchscreen maps during an EOC spin up. They want to be able to just say tornado here and draw an arrow if they need to. And it will immediately calculate where it's going, how it's heading, and where they need to coordinate their people. Or they can say hail reported here if they hear it over they have multiple TVs up and the radio going. They have everything going in that bunker. So it's just one of those things where they can just tap on the map what's happening. That way they keep an accurate account.
Well, we're on NWS chat, so the spotters that are out in the field before the news stations even get it, we have that real-time data through NWS chat, and you can put all of that stuff on there and kind of see what we're looking at before it's even in mainstream. So
that'll be the damage reporting. They did want a situational awareness as well. That kind of is a little bit of their situational awareness. It's a little bit different. They want to be able to see those storm data. They want to be able to track their inventory, which is something that I know a lot of other people might want to do as well. So what they're going to do is they're going to get a QR code reader or a barcode reader. And what we're going to do is we're going to use Survey 123 to be able to just scan a code. It'll fill out the survey, and then it'll go into a deal. You can see who checked it out, why they checked it out, and everything just from a click of a button. And it's right there just because of the scan of the barcode. Really cool, really simple. And then they want to do a little bit of change management. That's a Esri thing, so they want to kind of go and look more at what they can change in their department to help them out better. So that's just a little Esri thing. So other topics that we discussed as well was CityWorks, PLL. This is for court clerk documents and such. And I know Cody could possibly benefit. District 1 might be able to benefit it a little bit, I remember. We're going to include District 1 in everything that we've done for District 3 and hopefully get District 2 on board. And then we had some discussion on what UC, hopefully some people would like to come, maybe even next year. I know we have District 3 on board. It's going to be a great time. But that's really it for this year.
I find it intriguing by helping District 1 with their crap.
I know, that's what I was saying.
So that's the abbreviation that Esri gave. That's what the Esri abbreviated the Citizen Reporter app. So they shortened it.
What do we call it?
We call it the CPR, the Citizen Problem Reporter.
I
So,
like crap better.
so, but if any questions or,
Well, back to what Christy had mentioned a minute ago, and Mike, when you're talking about, baby outgrowing, seems like you mentioned several things that you wanted to get to this year, but you just didn't have the time and whatever. Because I know, you guys still have a great need for the services that he provides. If we are able to spin this off, and then you have 12 months of an employee doing what Tim was doing, and then it frees Tim up and Gabe. Well, Gabe is already 100%, but it frees you up to focus 100% on these projects and everything moving forward. So,
Because it might be at some point that they need even another person to handle some of these projects.
well, and the advantage if we do move it somewhere like into planning and engineering, where they have folks in there that are familiar with GIS and can work that. That's and you said that that was one thing you were wanting to do was kind of help them update and stuff.
yeah, definitely.
You guys can all kind of work together and get a lot of that stuff done. So exciting stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah, one of the things that we're trying to get out there right now is, engineering or planning does an evaluation of roads every couple of years. And we want a map that shows which roads are in what condition so that we can prioritize where we're spending our time and money to go out and do that. And coordinating with engineering and planning would be a great place for that to go so they can integrate that into some of the stuff that we're doing.
Yeah,
They also do bridges and culverts and signage too. And there's
we talked to Tim about getting that pavement management system.
Yes, you wanted to get it, and we're actually wanting to tie it in with Munis as well. So, and I know that Tex is doing a great job with tying things into Munis because he's putting not only the unique ID is what it's called, but he's putting your guys' work order ideas in everything as well for those
and
projects.
If we can tie it into Munis, then we can do sign inventories and things like that that go directly into Munis. So you eliminate a lot of the human error that goes along with some of that stuff. But I know Tim's busy as heck right now. I would say that it'd be really nice if he could spend 100% of his time working on some of this stuff.
Well, I think that you see this system really coming into life, and how important it is and how it's being utilized by all the different offices. And it's great to know that we made that decision to move forward with that. I think it was the right decision for what we're seeing. This has just been six months. So a lot of things up and running within that time frame, which is, I think, a testament to you, the dedicated staff, and of course the funds that are used to provide it. So,
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, Mike. So we'll work on cleaning up formulas, get you a new copy. So all right, I resubmit for you.
Then if we do, when we have our other discussions, if it does look like we're wanting to move that into somewhere else, let's just use planning and engineering for an example, then you can just resubmit with the GIS stuff out, and then we can get them to resubmit with GIS stuff in theirs, and it should be a wash. Yeah. Well, not exactly a wash, because it'll be an additional few months for Tim being 100% on this instead of being partially funded.
Yeah, and there'll be some more investment too on the asset side, because that equipment machinery is really through my office, not through another office. And I need that machinery and equipment for whoever comes to take Tim's place to do the work for me.
Okay, but what about Gabe's stuff?
Gabe's stuff will be all coming over. That's all
With him, so we just have to get stuff for Tim.
Okay. Yep, except for, desk and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Brandon and I can build a desk, right?
So then moving on
Master
to
craftsman.
our revolving fee, which is our fee that we collect money on for our special revenues, which we sell data, but like I said, it all goes to simply use for capital items, for equipment, for our mapping course and our mapping stuff. So it's just a special revenue fund. Like I said, it's not that much, but it does help us when we start buying those machines, because those machines can be quite expensive, anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000 a desktop or so. But that's a pretty simple one. Moving on to the last one we have is our visual inspection fund. This is the one that's the, I believe, the 9:10 ratio. That this is everything that we do in regards to valuation of property. It takes care of all of our staff, all of our retraining for our staff, all of our accreditation for our staff. So some of that is going to be the salaries that we move, because Tim does some of that work, so there might be some additional work here if we do some of that. But really, the salaries and the fringe is just the carryover that everybody's experiencing. We do have some more increase in travel. It's just, like I said, it's costing more to go to send people to school to get their accreditation and their continuing education. You're going to see some of the postal changes here, some of the printing services that we had. We had a printing contract that we had to renew this year that was a previous 5-year lock at no increase. So we went 5 years with a no increase through COVID, which was amazing. But we were able to stay with our same vendor, which has been great. They've been a really strong vendor for us in our printing services. But just some of the small increases in regards to, like I said, the postage, the printing and binding, some of the telecommunications and things. But really, this is the part that we talk about Microsoft 365, where you tell me, do you want?
We need to leave that in here. And I talked to Dane about that earlier today, because Jason and those that are new on this committee, when Mike had said 910 account, what he was talking about is this budget is 10% supported by the county. 90% of this budget is paid for by other entities, schools.
Those entities that receive ad valorem. So schools, cities, those entities that receive it.
So with that, with 90% of that being funded by those other entities that are benefiting from what they do, those expenses, to the extent possible, should, I think, stay in there, because those are offset by, those other entities that are paying in. So, and I mentioned that to Dane, so if you guys move your general fund ones, then we would just have that one little piece out there that would be the.
Yeah, I think that we've kind of made that mention to him as well, just so that he's clear that, hey, why didn't we do all of it? Because I know it's easier for him to manage that way, but we're fine whichever way works best for us. Because clearly our reval staff is using 365.
Mike, when you talked about the bill and needing 5 to 10 more, would they'd be in visual inspection, right? Or was that?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that'll be,
yeah, I know.
Next year. It's just,
I just want to make sure what budget you were talking about.
Yeah, I've been here 31 years. I think when I came to work here, we had 73 employees. I think we have 80 now. Mm-hmm. But yet our parcel count has grown by 50 to 70,000. Mm-hmm. So the whole idea behind the bill was to use some of the new technology to eliminate some of that. But being vetoed, I have no option but to increase my staff to cover the workload.
Have you heard if they're going to take that back up?
I do not believe that will happen, no, from what I'm being told. So, and I don't know, we've been at this for 3 or 4 years trying to work this bill into the situation of things, and we really felt that we had a good opportunity to make that happen this year. But with the governor vetoing it, I don't know that there's going to be a push to even pursue from this point.
Did he give a reason why he vetoed?
He did. His letter to us was, he felt that it was an invasion of property owners' rights, that we would be taking aerial imagery.
It's being done now.
I'm sorry?
It's being done now.
Well,
all over the place.
That's our contention is,
I know.
And really, I think it's maybe some misunderstanding that they may not understand what our responsibilities are, because what he's asking us to do now is to be more boots on the ground and step on people's property in a one-to-one confrontation with them, perhaps.
Sounds more invasive.
It's more invasive because we've had the individuals threaten, of course, accidents, dog bites, construction sites, things falling, you step on things. So this was hopefully a way that we could eliminate many of those things, but I don't have another avenue but to status quo, keep things going here. And tax commission always does an audit on us every year, and we hear numbers thrown at us that we should be up in the 90 plus in our staff numbers based upon what we are required to do. Tulsa County's smaller than we are. They have about 8 more employees than we do. So we're just at a point that we have to grow. Sorry.
Doesn't Tulsa County have something different?
I was gonna go there, you guys good.
There's about $40 million difference. What is that?
They have workday.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I think they're about 260,000 parcels, so that shows you how much bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're doing more with less. Just I can't eat any more than we are now.
So really, Tulsa County taxpayers are getting ripped off. That's what it sounds like.
I'm not saying that.
No, I don't.
I know they're doing whatever they have. I'm just thinking that maybe we have things in place that they don't.
I don't live there.
So,
Never done anyhow. We don't. I mean, this they come and see how it's done.
they have, actually. They've been over to see us the last 2 years to see the programs that we're doing. The Esri piece is one of those. Our modeling, our evaluation piece is another one. We've just undergone a revamp of all of our appraisal staff upstairs, presenting a new model of that. They've been down to look at that, see how we do things, because just like us, they have to hire more people as they grow. So they're asking us, how are you doing your work with that many less people? So they've been here. Yep.
We got good people.
We do. We have a great staff. I'm very happy that our staff, the responsibilities that they have, they continue to exceed, and they're even, you'd probably hit me if I didn't say this, because you're gonna hear it and you're gonna say, oh, here it comes again. But our work provides over 82% of the general fund revenue. I know that the treasurer has to bill it and collect it, but our work provides that.
Yep.
So there you go, Larry. I mentioned this.
All right. Are there any questions, comments? If not, is there a motion to receive the estimate of needs as presented by the assessor's office?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right. I think I am next on our list here. We'll start with the District 1 General Fund. I always like to start from the back and work my way forward when I'm looking at this stuff. Looking at salaries, we're looking at doing the same that we've done in the past, which is a split between the three of us that are in the office, between general fund and highway cash. The nature of what Joe and I specifically do is 100% of our time is not spent on doing things that help maintain roads and bridges, so we can't be paid 100% out of highway cash. For instance, this meeting today, right? So this is kind of how we've split it up. We're not looking at adding any new employees this next year. We've got the 3% merit. Joe would finish this up whenever I was out, so you put that in there for next year in anticipation. It has merit, but it's actually COLA. Not looking to add any employees, and then we left the insurance benefits the same. Those individuals are currently on at that rate, single and family, and there's no indication that there will be a change for any of them.
You see what Cody did there? Yeah, Joe finished up these things. It was against my will.
Well,
I'm just,
yeah, no, I just wanted to point out, I want to point out that it says merit on here, but it's actually COLA. So, I didn't catch that before. So little increase showing there on salaries, and that is related to an anticipated COLA. Fringe benefit, fringe amount follows. There's some formula issues because of the transfer. Travel, looking at going back down by $5,000 to $7,500, and then M&O is basically staying the same. Office supplies, did an analysis on the cost of some of the stuff that we're going through for this fiscal year, and it looks like we'll need a little bit more next year. So it was an $800 change in that particular line item. Other than that, capital stayed the same, so an increase, it looks like total of 19,623. That's what our request is in the general fund. Are there any questions? Now we can go over to highway cash, starting at the back once again. We have 33 employees total out of here. Those numbers do not include the 3 downtown folks that are split, that are paid for out of highway cash. The 33 are actually boots on the ground folks out of the yard. Salary adjustments in here, there was a little bit done to shore up that 9 months versus 3 months from general fund to highway cash to get all those salaries to work out. M&O, capital, these are all based on our current expenditures and what our projections are for our projects going into next fiscal year. It was mentioned earlier, you know, our cost of goods are going up pretty significantly. One thing that we've been really good at doing over the years is partnering with some of our municipalities. For instance, Dell City, we do a bunch of projects with them over the years, and they reimburse 100%. Their city managers told me on numerous occasions that they enjoy doing that because we do better work than the contractors that they can find, and we do it much cheaper than what they could have it done, you know, from a different vendor. The advantage that we have, other than helping one of our municipalities, is that it enables us to stretch our dollars, because when they're paying for 100%, they're paying for the salaries and benefits of the folks that are working on those particular projects for that time. So it allows us to spread our highway cash dollars to be able to do more projects in the communities to where that are under 5,000, where we are basically the public works department. And it enables us to be able to do a little bit more, which has been a great partnership. And going back to the to highway cat or to general fund real quick, I didn't mention this because we didn't ask for an increase, but one of the things that we've really been proud of in District 1 over the years is reflected in our general fund, and that's line item 54047, project reimbursement. Talking about reimbursements from municipalities reminded me about this. We use that to be able to do school projects throughout the fiscal year for schools, whether it's walking trails, parking lots, that kind of stuff that the schools can't, they're not able to find all of the funding to do those projects. If they're able to come up with the material costs, whether it's the asphalt or whatever, they have to pay for 100% of the materials. And then usually what we try to do is donate labor and equipment for our highway cash employees that are doing it. So what we do is highway cash will send us a bill for the salaries and benefits of those folks that are on there, and then we use this project reimbursement to reimburse highway cash so that we're able to help the school districts. Occasionally, school districts need projects and they do have more funding available, so they'll pay for part of the labor and equipment as well. which is very helpful when they're able to do that. But this has been something that we've really been able to help some of our schools that just don't have all the resources that they would like to be able to provide amenities and things for the school-age children in their school district. So anyway, that's mine. Happy to answer any questions.
No questions for me?
I was looking at the general fund, your downtown one, and I think I'm sure it's just formula errors, but it's off by like 6,000 or 7,000 on the total. I don't know if you know if there's a reason for that. Or...
Well, there were formula errors, and I actually went in and changed one, and I got in trouble for changing the formula. And I get it, we shouldn't do that, but yeah, there was a formula error, and there might still be some in there. So I think what we probably want to do, and I can get with Jennifer if I need to, or Jason can, but probably want the clerk's office to look at these estimate of needs, and if it is rebuilding the formulas and just flowing everything in, I know it's going to be.
Just like keep fixing them.
Yeah.
And literally keep fixing them.
Yeah.
And the formulas and all that, I've even sent them out a couple times. And then when they come back, it's different. You know, I think really think they need to be rebuilt. But a lot of these I've gone in and fixed the formulas, save it, close it out, and then go back in and look later, and there'll be something different. Or the same thing has just gone back to the way it was. I think they need to be rebuilt.
This is a state form, right? Isn't it like state form?
But it's been altered and added formulas to it so many times. I think it's. Yeah. I think these documents are trying to follow the county constitution. Since it's always been done like that, it doesn't want to change.
If this document's valid, totally.
Maybe it was a requirement from our perspective.
Well, I think that the document, we are required to utilize, I think it's the SANE form, right? Chrissy, are you?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. But I think that we can probably use the same form, just clear everything out of it and start with a brand new one that doesn't have anything built into it, nothing saved. It's a brand new baby. It's the exact same as what it looks like when these are blank now, with nothing embedded in the back end of it, and then create a new template with the formulas the way they need to be, and then just put everybody's information in. So
You have that by tomorrow morning.
Right? I'll add that to my list.
And if there's a way that we can, because it gets confusing when it looks like there was a transfer from one to the other, and it skews that, and I don't know exactly how to fix that, but maybe we can. So
we need to refresh clean up on that one too. Then. I'm just making little notes so that make it up.
Clean up. You have to gotta clean up your crap. I know. I'm relying on you guys. You guys weren't able to get to that this year. Can you fix my crap next year?
I will.
That's 2 P's.
Yes, 2 P's.
All right, is there a motion to receive the estimate of needs for District 1 as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, guys. District 2.
All right, let's start with general fund. Mine is easy. I just want to point out a couple of things, starting like Cody did at the back and working our way back or forward. The salary computation, really nothing has changed. We add a couple of salary adjustments for the top 2 positions, chief and second deputies, just to kind of slowly get them up on par, closer, a little bit closer to the elected officials. And so that's just kind of taking baby steps up that way. I also did want to note how it was notated. If you look at the top, that 5950 above the fiscal year 23-24, that was the merit. And if you look at the budget amendments, that was actually what we utilized of that. So we intend for the remainder of that to roll back into general fund because we did not utilize all of that. And so then going back to our budget worksheet, it's not really jiving But really, the only change that we had were the salary adjustments of the 10,000. But if you look at the bottom, it shows a difference of 21,000, and I think